Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sasha. If for all you guys that are new here, if you're new to my channel, this is a channel where I talk about my journey coming from one country, which is Jamaica, migrating to another, which is Canada. So if that's something that you're interested in, please continue to watch. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've never really saw a YouTube video where they talk about the exact step-by-step process of becoming an international student, to having your PR or your citizenship. It's more in-depth video about a certain topic. So this video is going to basically take you step by step from actually deciding which school you're going to go up until you get your PR. So the first step I would say in becoming an international student in Canada is to actually decide what you want to study. That's the first step. After you decided what you want to study, think about which province, like do your research on which province you want to study at, whether it be Ontario, in Quebec. You have many options as it regards provinces that you'd want to study at, but some persons are more familiarized with Ontario, like myself, hence the reason why I chose Ontario. After you have researched which province you want to study in, then you can go ahead and do your research into which school is available and which school offers that program. So for instance, if you want to do say business, because that's what I'm familiarized with, that's what I've studied. If you want to do a degree in finance, and you decided that you wanted to go with Ontario. Of course, there are many schools that offer these programs, but I would suggest doing your research to say, okay, which one is valued more, which one falls under the designated learning institution. I've made a video about this, what it exactly means, etc. Because if you're looking to stay in Ontario afterwards, your degree has to fall under the designated learning institution in order for you to get your work permit, and the next step is getting your PR. All right, so the first step, as I mentioned before, figuring out what you want to study. Second is figuring out which province you want to study at. Then the third one is now researching the schools in that province that you want to study at. So, and then you narrow it down to 5 schools, or say 2 schools that you're really interested in. But I suggest not putting your eggs in one basket. I know most of these schools, they ask you for a fee when applying for the institution. So I would suggest not applying for maybe more than 3, because most of these colleges and universities fees are like $100, $150, depending on what you're applying for or which school you're applying to. So if you have it, then go for it and apply for all 5 schools like that you narrowed it down to. But if you find a school that speaks to you and you're like, okay, this is the exact school I want to go to, then just apply for the one. What I like about most of the universities and colleges is that they give you an opportunity to apply for more than one program. So if you don't get into one, maybe you're going to be qualified for another, right? When applying for the school that you have chosen or schools that you have chosen, they're going to have a list of things that they're going to tell you that you're going to need in order to qualify. So take a look at like all the documents that would be needed or the qualifications that would be needed. Say you want to just study a degree and you don't have a degree back home, but you do have your high school diploma. That should be enough depending on what you want to study. But for instance, if you're going to study to become a doctor, like a high school diploma is not going to cut it to get into medical school. You're going to need some other additional schooling, but they're going to outline all the academic requirements that is needed. So just make sure that you qualify for that program and that school and don't waste your money on applying. The next step after applying to the school is just basically getting accepted. When you do get accepted, the school is going to send you the acceptance package. The acceptance package now is what you're going to need when applying for your student visa. They're going to send you like the financing amount for that program that you're going to study, scholarship opportunities, etc., etc. If you're interested in getting scholarship, that would be the best time to apply for the scholarship. Some schools will give you the opportunity to apply for the scholarship when you're applying to the school itself, but some of them would suggest that you wait until you get accepted to that program to then apply for the scholarship. So in this case, if you're interested in getting a scholarship, then that's the next step, is to apply for the scholarship at the school that you got accepted. Now, after getting accepted, the next thing that you're going to do is to collect the acceptance package, which the school will provide. It will outline all the fees, what your start date, your end date. If you did get a scholarship, then it will outline how much is going to be withdrawn from your entire tuition, etc. The next step after that is to gather all your documents that you're going to need in order to apply for the student visa in your country. So I already made a video as it regards the student visa checklist. This can also be found on Canada thecanada.ca's website. So if that's something that you are interested in, or if you're at that stage, I would suggest going on that. Or if you're going to a travel agency, they usually print out that paper for you and be like, okay, this and this you're going to need. I made a video specifically about the checklist that you're going to need in order to apply for your student visa in Jamaica at least, but it's going to rank for all the Caribbean countries. So if you're from the Caribbean, more than likely that's what you're going to need. If you're not from the Caribbean, maybe one or two stuff you're not going to need, but everything that I listed is coming from the Canada.ca's website. So I would suggest watching that video if you're at that step. Then, of course, the next step is applying for your student visa. So student visa is different from your student permit, which is different from your work permit. But again, I'm going to make videos talking about the difference between a student permit and a student visa, and also your work permit while being here. But in this case, the first thing that you're going to apply for is your student visa. So after applying and submitting all your documents for the student visa in your country, they're going to then call you in to do a biometrics. So biometrics is basically taking your fingerprint. After you have done this, it lasts for 10 years. So every application that you're going to do in Canada or outside of Canada, like just relating to anything Canada wise, the biometrics is needed. But once you do it, it lasts for 10 years. So say you do it in 2023, you do not have to do it again until 2033. 2033. But it doesn't matter what you're applying for, whether it be your postgraduate work permit, your PR, you're extending your student permit, or you're applying for a temporary resident visa. Like, they're going to need it in every single application, but this one lasts for 10 years, so you don't have to do it after you have done that first one. So they're gonna call you after you submit the application for the student visa to do your biometrics. They're gonna let you know where you're supposed to do it. More than likely, it's usually over the embassy in your country. After you have done that now, then if you are accepted, they usually send you an email with updates. They have made their decision. When you log in to the Canada.ca's website, you'll see their decision and the next step. So they're gonna be like, okay, send your passport to this and this location. So that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to submit your passport and then you wait. So while you wait for your passport, or you can do this after you have received your passport with the visa in it, you can gather all your documents, clothes, funds that you're going to need while being in Canada. I would suggest doing that while you wait, because it gives you more time than when you just get your passport, because you usually get your passport like closer to the time that your school starts, so you don't really want to rush and do everything. Next, after you gather all of that, then you can start doing your research on where you're going to stay. So I've made a video talking about where international students can stay, such as homestay, landing pad, on-campus residence, and off-campus residence. I won't get in too much details into it because I made a specific video for that. So if you have not watched that video, go ahead and do so. I'm going to link it in the description below. Then when you decided where you want to live in Canada, whether it be homestay, landing pad, off-campus, or on-campus, then you can go ahead and pay the down payment. More than likely, every place that you pick, they're gonna ask for a down payment, except for maybe the landing pad. They're gonna ask for like 2 months down payment. So I would suggest going ahead and signing your contract, etc. Or maybe you have family in Canada, which is even better, so you can save your funds. But that's basically the next step, figuring out where you're going to stay in Canada, because when you do get to the embassy, they're going to ask you like, what location are you living in? You're going to need an address. So make sure that you sort out that part. Do this after or before you have received your passport with the visa in it. Then I would suggest booking your ticket after you have received your passport back. It's very risky to go ahead and book your ticket without receiving your passport, because you don't want to do it and you don't have your passport, like you don't get it back in time. So I would suggest booking your ticket after you receive your passport. Choose an airport that is closer to where you're going to stay, and then also arrange either with the school or with someone that you know in Canada, or just a taxi service overall to bring you to the location that you're going to be staying after coming out of the airport. So you got all of those arranged already. So where you're going to stay, who's going to pick you up from the airport, etc. You have all your travel documents. So the next step is now traveling to Canada. So you reach into Canada and you're at the airport now. They're going to basically ask you for all the documents that you have submitted when you're the same documents that you've submitted to the embassy in your home country. So the acceptance letter, etc. They might not ask for every single one of them, but it would be smart to bring all the documents that you applied for, because you don't want it to be a case that they ask for it and you do not have it. So I suggest getting that. Once they are okay with the documents that you have provided and asking you all the questions, etc., like where you're going to stay, then they're going to give you something that is called the student permit. And if needed, or if you applied for it, they're going to give you something that also called the student work permit. Again, if you want more details about that, I will be making a video specifically talking about what's the difference between a student visa, a student permit, and also a work permit, whether it be student permit or postgraduate work permit. Okay, you have arrived in Canada, and the next step now is to go to your location that you're staying at, and figuring out like the bus routes, etc. if you don't have a vehicle. Yeah, and then basically start your school whenever the start date is. So basically I gave you a summary of all the step by step process to reach into Canada and becoming an international student. That is a step-by-step process that I took in order to become an international student in Canada. So the next part that I will be talking about right now is talking about after you finish your studies, where you go from there. I'm not going to talk too much in depth about that next step because it's a little bit hectic, and I don't really want to make this video too long. I'll probably make a separate video talking about all the next steps after you have graduated. But in summary, after you've graduated, you're going to apply for something called your postgraduate work permit, depending on how many years you have studied for. So if you do less than a year or a year, you're going to only get 1 year work permit. If you do 2 years or more, you're going to get 3 years work permit. But I made specific videos for this already, so I'll talk more in depth about it in those videos. So if that's something that you're interested in, just look out for those videos when I drop it. Turn your notification bell on so you know anytime I post a video, so you don't miss out, okay? But you do apply for your work permit. After you get your work permit and you work for a year in a job that they classify under the knock code. So I think it's 0A-B is good. If your job title falls under those, you can apply with a C, but it's not gonna give you as much points because they work on point system here when they're trying to give you your PR. But after you have worked for a year in a job that they classify as a good job technically, then you can go ahead and apply for your permanent residency. So, submit all the documents, etc. Anyway, I'll get more into depth about that part in another video. So you got accepted for your PR, and then you wait 5 years, and then you can apply for your citizenship basically. And see, now you're a Canadian citizen. See? I mean, the steps are very hectic when it comes down to the first part, but it's attainable. That's all I'm saying to you guys. Like, don't give up. If that's your aim, or even just to get your PR is your aim, don't give up. As long as you follow the steps and you just basically do what you have to do. Come here and go to school and work in a job that you know that's going to qualify you to get your PR. Like, it's attainable, okay? So I hope I helped you in kind of breaking down a little bit more about the step by step process instead of making just a generic video talking about, okay, this is what you're going to need or how to apply for your student visa. I mean, I'm still going to make those videos, and I have made those videos. I'm not going to stop because you need more in-depth videos, but I hope this helped you to be like, okay, oh, so this is the next step. And that's the next step. Okay, so when she's making a sit-down video talking about the checklist, at least she told me that I'm going to need a checklist in this video to see where I'm at in getting here in Canada, etc. So that's the end of my video. If you do have any additional questions, I hope I was clear enough. If I was not, feel free to leave them in the comment section, like all the questions that you have, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. If you're new to my channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and of course turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified anytime I post a video. Until next time, God bless you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.